Welcome everyone to the Dairy Raid. Brought to you from a football coach's point of view, the Dairy Raid provides commentary and analysis of Wisconsin football and its new identity. Here's your host, Ryan Anderson.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dairy Raid, and week 3 of fall camp wrapped up over the weekend, and let's talk a little bit about what we heard coming out of week 3 and seeing if there's anything we can really analyze about it. And to be honest, not really. We're getting to the point in camp where it's less about installation and more about reps, more about working on situational offense and defense. And the rhythm of camp is there. The rhythm of practice is there. And football is starting to become routine. And so without repeating what everyone else in the Badger community has already said, just another week of camp. A couple things that we can mention. One of the points that was brought up last week in my week 2 breakdown was there hasn't been a lot of praise of the offensive line. That to which I countered with praise can be shown by results as much as it can be by actual words. So what does that mean? That means when the running game kicks big gains, when Tyree Walker busts a big run, when Dylan Jones, etc., busts a big run, the offensive line is there. When the quarterback's given time to throw the ball downfield, the offensive line is there. This week, though, it was the first time I've really seen that people who were there on the ground actually say, wow, the offensive line really had a good day run blocking, and we're really making holes. Good sign. Obviously, the offensive line last season was a point of a lot of pain for Badger fans. They did not perform to the level that we would expect from a Badger offensive line, but to be honest, they weren't an offensive line that is a traditional Wisconsin line. The depth wasn't there, and I don't think the talent translated. Sure, if we look at star ratings and recruiting and all that, we had a good group, but that didn't translate onto the field. You had guys like Trey Wettig, who too slow to play tackle, too big to be an effective guard, and eventually lost his playing time as the season went on. You got Nolan Rucci, high-level 5-star recruit that just didn't pan out. And there's obviously many different ways that you could put blame on that, but you watch him in the bowl game, there's just something wrong about his body composition that didn't work well. And, hopefully for him, getting closer to home, he gets a chance to get some playing time. Same with Trey Wettig going to Indiana. Maybe they're going to find a way to use him correctly, but if you're talented, they find ways to get you on the field regardless of flaws, and we didn't see that. So this season, we lost those two, lost another transfer, Dylan Barrett to Iowa State. Furtney graduated, and then Tanner Borley went to the NFL. So you would think that this year's offensive line would be a net loss compared to last season. But really, all signs have been that they have been steady, they've improved, and now this week we're hearing the praise of the group from the people on the field, from on the ground who are seeing what's happening. So there are going to be times this season when the offensive line struggles. That's just what it's going to be. until the depth gets rebuilt and some of this new breed of young talent that comes in can get in there and start making an impact, which leads to a question that I got this week, and that is, am I concerned about the depth of the offensive line? Yes. You know, as much as I want to coach speech this and come up with excuses, yeah, I'm very concerned where it sounds like we've got 3 true freshmen in the 2 deep. But I will attach a but to that. But they're proving it on the field. You know, they are passing up guys who've been in the system for a while, but they, more importantly, they are earning the playing time via talent. And the positives of getting young guys in the 2 deep this early are simply growth potential. They're going to get meaningful practice reps from the beginning. You know, Emerson Mandel has to learn how to pass block because he never had to pass block in high school. And the best way to do that is getting meaningful reps running our offense in practice. So the positive is we're getting young guys up into the system and they're getting reps in practice and getting ready. And if AJ Blazek and Phil Longo says that they have enough talent to get on the field and play, they will. But there's a reason why these last 2 recruiting classes, they've leaned so heavily on offensive linemen, is that room needed a big talent upgrade. And we got it. So if they end up having to play, obviously that's going to affect play calling. It's going to affect play selection. But hopefully what we're going to see is raw ability and also a glimpse at the future. That being said, do I expect many of these young guys in the 2 deep to get a lot of playing time? Probably not. Because just because you know they have to put out the depth chart with 2 deep at every position doesn't mean that that's going to be the guys who come in on the field in the situation where somebody gets hurt. Obviously, Joe Huber it really sounds like he's going to be your super sub. And he's going to be the starter at right guard. But I guarantee he'd be the first one to swing in to center. And he might even be the first that pops out to right tackle. And then you get somebody like JP Benchwall going to come in and play one of the interior spots. Maybe Dylan Barrett, Barrett Nelson, gets reps at one of the tackle spots, Kevin Haywood. So I don't think they're a true 10-man, 2-platoon type of offensive line. But with the couple guys that we've mentioned, I think they're solid 7 deep, maybe 8. They'll be fine. We'll look at last season. We didn't use a huge amount of linemen, even in situations where we probably should have. So let's see how the depth holds up. As long as we don't get a big rash of injuries here to start the season, getting young guys in the 2 deep early is what is going to build this offensive line quicker and better for the future. So, offensive line, that's about all we have to talk about from this week at camp that has really changed. Hearing the same things. Playmakers are making plays. Offense makes a mistake here and there. Defense is making plays. They give up a big play here and there. It's camp. That's how it's going to be. But, so we don't have this cut too short, I did have a couple questions/comments come up through what I solicited for during the week. And I think it's going to be a good time to answer them. And here we go. So, first one that came up. And I like this one as a kind of a philosophical question. And that is, if making changes to a system, offense or defense, culture, whatever, takes so much effort and takes so long, why, I think I'm paraphrasing what this guy's saying here, maybe going more with what he means. Why not be more gradual with the change? And why make changes in the first place, especially when things at Wisconsin have always worked in the past? Well, the simple, easy answer at the top of that is you are firing the previous staff for what they did in the past, and you're hiring a new staff for what they're doing in the past. You're not hiring them to do what the previous staff did. That's obvious. Why not gradually move things from the old way to the new way? A lot of people do that. I think we saw that during Gary Anderson's time at Wisconsin. Andy Ludwig, who after Wisconsin has gone on to coordinate some pretty damn good offenses at Utah, his 2 seasons at Wisconsin, the offense was exactly the same. There was very little change. As much as everyone thought, oh, we're going to bring in the spread offense, me included, they ran what we ran here forever. And they did that because they had all-world running backs. And, it didn't move the passing game forward, didn't move the QB game forward. And it is what it is. And the result with that is we got the Alex Hornibrook era. So they made wholesale changes on the defense. They went straight into the Anderson Aranda 3-4 defense. And became what it was. And, those echoes are still being felt in the program today. But a lot of times when you try to slow play a change and give your players more of a task of translating what they used to do into a new system, they don't learn new muscle memory, they don't learn new techniques. They just try to think about what they've done in the past. Football players do not have enough mental capacity to think and play at the same time. This comes from experience as a player and over 20 years of coaching. Players would all agree with that too. So sometimes it really is, especially when you have the opportunity to know that you're going to have time in the future, to just go with the change. But again, you're not hiring Phil Longo to run Paul Christ's offense. Who's the best champion of the Paul Chryst offense? Paul Chryst. So if you want Phil Longo to run his offense, then you should have kept him in the first place. Having the benefit of knowing that you're going to get a second year in the system helps. The head coach isn't going to get fired after year one. And as long as there's not a catastrophic failure, everyone's going to be back year 2. So that allows you the opportunity to have a season where you put everything on film and you reevaluate your system in the off season to build for year 2. Which is, again, why every year with Phil Longo, his second season shows market improvement over the first one. All right, so going slow and keeping old traditions is not a way to move a program forward. Because again, if you just wanted to use the same thing from the past, just with new window dressing, why'd you make change in the first place? So that's what I think about that. You hire me, we're switching to the air raid, we're running the 3-4 defense, and here's the playbook, we're going to get started. And I'm going to teach it in time to get ready for the first game. Done it every stop I've had. All right. Last thing that I want to bring up is another question that I get a lot, and that is, why do I only talk about the offense? Well, I don't. In fact, I've done previews of opponents' defenses in the past. We did one with Iowa, comparing Iowa's defense against two various air raid offenses that they had played previous in that season. Done whole videos on the Wisconsin defense playing against Ohio State and against Illinois. And I probably will continue to do so in the future. I will be honest, they don't get a huge amount of traffic. So, we'll see. But the honest answer is I'm an offensive guy. And the reason why I'm an offensive guy is offensive football just stimulates that right part of my brain that gets me excited about the sport. I call defensive plays every week during the season. I am my team's offensive and defensive coordinator. And so I know a lot about defense. My philosophy about defense is taking what I know would bug the hell out of me as an offensive coach and trying to put that on the field as a defensive coach. That being said, as a defensive coach, at times defense can get really simple, as long as you have the right mentality. And this is something defensive coaches struggle with sometimes, is the KISS concept of keep it simple, stupid. And when you're a person like me who has to do everything at the same time, I have to live by that. And defensively, I could run the same play the entire game if I wanted to. Against a lot of opponents, I do. And against a lot of opponents, we call one play with blitz checks based off of either formation or based off of personnel package. And we run one coverage because we can. And while it's fun, it doesn't take much thinking about. It doesn't stimulate that part of my brain. Okay? When my brain gets stimulated is when I see things that really cause offenses to have problems. And that's what I want to bring to my game. So, that being said, we're going to try to do some breakdowns of the Badgers defense this year. Probably won't do full game breakdowns. Might take some highlight films and cut up something. But, this channel started as a breakdown of the Wisconsin offense and its new identity. And we'll slowly build up to turn this into Wisconsin's whole football identity going forward. All right. Well, I've arrived at the office. I think that means it's a good time to call it a day. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And keep your eye on the Dairy Raid, as we've got some pretty cool new stuff coming up here. Game breakdowns, breaking down some of our Badgers in the NFL. You name it. 2024 season's right around the corner. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to the Dairy Raid. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content and analysis. If the written word is more your thing, you can find Coach Anderson's work on Substack or follow the Dairy Raid on Twitter.